Welcome, everybody. Well, we've been worrying about worrying all week, but we've been looking at various antidotes and solutions to worry, which is it's a glorious thing, isn't it? Have you ever noticed how easy it is to worry? It's not like we get up in the morning and hit our knees and beg and pray to God, God, please make me worry today. Make me a better worrier. Increase my worrying capacity. Allow me to worry about more things in more strenuous, strident, and painful fashion. Um, you'd have to be insane to do that. So it's likely that we don't, and yet we worry. So that would mean one thing. It means that worrying is automatic. It would mean that it's habitual. It would mean that it's sort of like an autopilot setting in a mind that a mind could fall into with no effort whatsoever. It would just happen on its own, and it would be a bad habit. Now, like any other habit that we have, until we know that we have the bad habit, it's going to continue unabated because the momentum of something will continue its momentum until it's acted on by an opposing force. Simple physics, right? So if we're going to change from being a chronic worrier into something else, it might be a good idea. And I want to ask you this, if you would close your own eyes for a moment and just ask yourself, if I wasn't worrying, what would I be doing? If I wasn't engaged in worrying, what would I be engaged in? And see what answer comes for you. Okay, now, whatever answer you came up with, that's an important answer for you. Could I answer the question for you? Of course I could. Is it more powerful that you answer that question? So should you notice that at any point in the future, you ever find yourself worrying again, who knows? Maybe it all just evaporated and dissipated today, once and forever. Wouldn't that be great? Miracles do happen. Let's not limit the Holy One of Israel, so to speak. But should you find yourself worrying, that kind of grinding, automatic, habitual movement of the mind, extrapolating into future situations and worrying and feeling bad and having a grinding sense of impending doom about things or trouble, if trouble seems to be continuously on the horizon, then we're worrying. You can remind yourself of what you think the ideal is, what the opposite of that is. You can always upgrade that answer. Now, for me, I just add, if I'm not worrying, I'm free. I'm free. One other word that came for me is flow. I'm free and I'm flow. Those are the things that I am when I'm not worrying. So do I worry? Yes. Am I getting more and more into freedom and flow? Yes. There's a spell and an episode and an era of having to literally practice moving from being a worrier into being somebody who's free and flowing. And of course, it's all the things that we've talked about all week long: distraction, thinking about something else, trusting, breathing. There's a lot of tools in our toolkit that we can pull out when we notice that our machinery is chronically and habitually worrying without any effort on our part. We have to go in there. We have to use one of our spiritual tools to adjust perception, perspective, proportion. Isn't worry always having things out of proportion? We create impending doom over the smallest thing. Now, there's another word for this. It's called being neurotic or neurose. To neurose. We could almost use it as a verb. How are you doing today? I'm neurosing. What about? Whatever my mind can get its hands on. So I'm jesting about this, and we can make fun of ourselves being worriers, but we can also be warriors. We can be warriors about changing that. And when we notice that it's going on, we can aim ourselves toward that beautiful quality that you just named for yourself. If nothing came to mind, then think about it, introspect, be creative. Instead of being a worrier, what would you like to be instead? Would you like to be free? Would you like to be flowing? Would you like to be serene? Would you like to be happy? The great yoga master, Mayor Baba, said, don't worry, be happy. There's a nice alternative, but it does involve an awareness of when we're doing it, to see the habitual nature of it, to see the movement of a mind that associates with it, and to have a will within us, a will to unworry, a will to freedom, a will to be in flow, to be free of that. We can all point ourselves in that direction, but if we must be diligent and persistent. And it does take this to break bad habits. It takes up to 30 days to break a really bad habit, and something as deep as worrying could take longer. But if it resulted in a chronic and habitual sense of freedom and flow, could there be anything in our life that could be more valuable than ending the bad habit of chronic extrapolating forward into imaginary future scenarios and practicing impending doom? When it's said that way, we can see what a really crappy habit that is and how we ought to knock it off. We should grow up, and we shouldn't be Woody Allen in one of his 19 movies that he made where he neurosed and worried and catastrophized about everything, including spiders and bathtubs, right? So let's not be that person. Let's be a warrior and not a worrier. And we'll continue the topic. Have a happy, joyous, and free day.